Colm Boohig is here in studio.
Morning, Colm.
We're not talking Cork because we've already done it.
I heard he this morning. So much pride.
Steve-O's covered all those bases. We're talking Wimbledon. And so today's going to be a pretty good day, I think it's fair to say. The women's final tomorrow should be a cracker as well. We want to just look back first of all and start with Coco Gauff. And really, she's been the story of Wimbledon 2019, or is that kind of bigging it up too much?
Oh, it's completely justified. I mean, what were you doing when you were 15 that summer? I mean, this girl got to the second week of Wimbledon in the fourth round. But it's a remarkable story. I mean, some people say, oh, they saw it coming because she won the girls' French Open last year. She got to the final of the girls' US Open in 2017 at the age of 13. She has $1 million in endorsements. She's with Roger Federer's management team, but she's 15 years of age.
Yeah, and you mentioned as well, that's clay court and hard court.
Exactly.
Totally different story playing on grass.
So it goes to grass, played Venus Williams, one of her heroes, 24 years her senior, absolutely wipes the floor with her. And people think, oh, that's interesting. She'll probably get hammered in the second round. Goes to the second round, easily goes through that. And in the third round, one of the matches of the tournament against Herzog from Slovenia, Herzog had two separate match points. Gauff saved them and Gauff went on to win the match. And no matter what happens now, that will forever be remembered. John McEnroe said he would be shocked if by the age of 20 she wasn't world number one. She has a lot in her game. She's hitting 115 miles per hour serves at 15 years of age. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And a funny thing as well, the night before her first round, she was studying for a science exam. She's still in school, obviously. And the morning of the match against Venus, she had one autograph request from a little boy. After that, she's since had 300 separate interview requests to the WTA and her own team manager.
When is the exam? How did she get on it? Do we know?
Apparently she got a B.
Right,
apparently she's straight because
she needs to work on her studying.
yeah.
Come on, like if you're competing at Wimbledon, you need to be getting A's here, don't you?
It's a bit outrageous balance of duties. Incredible multitasking.
We're talking about the curse of court number 2. What is the curse of court number 2?
It's just basically all these great players throughout the years find court number 2 extremely difficult to play against. So historically, you're talking about McEnroe lost to court number 2 in the early rounds at Wimbledon. Agassi lost in '96, Sampras 2002. The Williams sisters a year apart in the mid-2000s. Martina Hingis. But this year in particular, it's been outrageous. I just have a list here. In the first round, Tsitsipas, who's number 6 in the world, the young Greek, very highly rated, went out in court number 2 in the first round. Dominic Thiem, world number 4, French Open finalist, gone in the first round in court number 2. Sharapova lost in the first round, court number 2. Former champion of Wimbledon, of course, 2004. She went off, retired. Second round, Angelique Kerber, world number 5, defending Wimbledon champion, went out. Stan Wawrinka, who's won every other Grand Slam except Wimbledon, went out. Ash Barty, women's world number 1, reigning French Open champion, out in the fourth round of court number 2. And Caroline Pliskova, world number 3, went out in the fourth round of court number 2. The graveyard court. There's something about it. But this year has been prevalent. I mean, all those names that I just listed happened this year. Initially, I was naming the historical names. That's how much of an impact it's had this year in court number 2.
And what was the court that Serena and Andy were playing when they got knocked out?
Might have been one. Was it on the outside courts? I don't think it was court number 2.
It looked like an outside.
Good question.
You obviously, naturally, we don't watch much of the outside courts because they have the lesser talents. But it was the first time, really, I think, of actually in years, maybe since Conor Nyland, that I've actually watched a full kind of outside court game. The atmosphere in those courts seems amazing, way better than centre court or court 1.
It's like the only time I can remember centre court being anyway like that was the 2001 Wimbledon final between Goran Ivanisevic and Pat Rafter, because that was People's Monday because of the rain over the weekend, no roof back then, obviously. And that atmosphere on that Monday was feverish because it was Croatia and Australia fans, and you could just see a sea of yellow and red and white. Outside courts pretty much like that all the time, within the decorum of tennis, of course.
Just one last thing we want to look back on when it comes to this year's Wimbledon is press conferences, and the Joanna Contest stuff was interesting. Was it a patronising question from the journalists? Yeah,
I was listening to it again this morning. So Joe Conta, home favourite, although Sydney born, but home favourite for the Brits, got knocked down in the quarter-final, and one of the journalists basically said, you know, it's about time you kind of capture yourself on. I mean, you heard it, So if you think you're going to win this, you know, you had 33 unforced errors, you had a perfectly reasonable smash that you could have won, you hit it straight at your opponent. What's going on with you, basically? And if you want to win these Grand Slams, you're going to basically have to be better than you are. And Conta, the tone of the question really wasn't great. Questioning might be fair, tone wasn't great. Conta did not reply well to it.
I don't know. I listened back and I thought, this is... Get over yourself here, Conte. You know,
I don't think so at all.
I think in a few days after the whole tea celebration, I think the English need to just, you know, wash a bit of that starch out of that colour. Like, get over yourselves. Like, seriously.
I'm on Team
I agree.
Conte.
No, I
I'm on
agree.
Team Conte.
I agree.
It was an outrageous tone of question.
I think people are just, especially the English, they're so oversensitive when it comes to this kind of thing. You know, the tea celebration was an absolute joke. Like, you know, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, no,
the way
I agree with that.
People reacted. I just thought the Joe Conte thing, like, I thought actually was her reaction. I thought was
patronising.
Yeah, exactly.
She was the
yeah.
one
Do you think she? No, I thought she was being patronised.
Journalists asking a fair question, you know, and all he said, look,
It's a separate debate.
and he was like, he even said, we're all willing you to win, which is a bit silly as well, because, you know, as a journalist, he's meant to be unbiased, but he was showing that he was there supporting her, you know, and I was just like, come on, Conte, she played badly. She played badly, and she does this quite a lot.
But like, I got kind of caught up in the hype of Wimbledon, or the decorum of Wimbledon myself the next morning. I was like, God, yeah, that question now is really harsh. And then I was like, what the hell am I doing? If this was any other sport, and he pointed out statistics provided by the official statistic provider. How is that patronising in any way? In fact, it's giving her all the credit, all the respect.
I was on last week championing the individualism of Nick Kyrgios, but I'm still on Conte's side for this. I still think that journalists went too far. It was right after the match.
Joe,
I understand her reaction, put it that way.
So I think she needs to go down to that pub that Kyrgios was in, have a couple of
Dog and
pints,
Fox.
and just
Dog and Fox, is that what it's called?
chill out.
Yeah.
I think we've got some Bernard Tomic
Yeah,
as well.
Bernard Tomic is great. He lost his first round match in 58 minutes, accused of not trying hard enough.
After just 58 minutes, do you think there was any lack of effort on your part, or just a bad day?
Well, I returned pretty bad in the seat, so it was a pretty terrible match.
But you're happy with the effort levels you put in?
What?
You're happy though with the effort you were putting in? It just wasn't.
Next question, please.
You were fined a couple of years ago for lack of effort. Do you expect the same this time?
What was that, just a walk out of a press conference?
He was just like, I'm not going to answer you. Body language, he was out the gap in every sense of the word. Yeah, he's done it before, Tomic.
So hard as well, though, isn't it? Because I know myself, the hardest interviews you will ever do as a journalist are the post-match interviews. They're so hard because you do want to show that you're empathising with the loser. You know that you don't want to kind of. You don't want to ruin the interview and risk a situation like that where they might walk out by asking the wrong question. And the sports person themselves they're full of adrenaline, they're full of disappointment, whatever the case may be. It is so hard. You really, as a journalist, you have to tiptoe through these things and try your best not to wind them up.
Yeah, Conte.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk Nadal Federer this afternoon. I presume this is still a match that you get excited by?
Oh, this is unbelievable. Would you believe it's the first time they played each other at Wimbledon since that great 2008 final, which for many people is the greatest match of all time. Yeah, at Wimbledon. It's incredible. 11 years. That match, like, it was dark when they played that last point and Nadal won the fifth set. You see a picture of it up there. They look so young. Like, it's unbelievable. But 11 years on, they're playing each other at Wimbledon for the first time. But it is, you see, it's the big three dominance, right? And it is disappointing. It is a bit repetitive. Like, it's Djokovic, Nadal, Federer all the time. But it's the first time since 2007 that the three of them have been in the Wimbledon semi-finals at the same time. So at least there's that. Yeah, there is that to it. But Nadal, Federer, I don't have a great feeling for Federer. He's played Nadal 4 times in Grand Slam semi-finals and he's lost every one of them. Yeah. And the further the match goes, you have to favour Nadal.
Yeah,
4 years
Nadal is over that injury, the struggle he had for. He's kind of got over that. But come on, Nadal is 38 next month. Sorry, Federer. Federer's 38 next month. This is an indictment of men's tennis. Where are all the young players coming through? It's an absolute disgrace. This might as well be the Wimbledon seniors. These guys are.
But that's what Federer said. It's as long as us three are around, they're not. No one else is going to get through, and they're on their 30s.
It is kind of ridiculous. To be fair.
Can I make a brief point about the other semi-final between Djokovic and Roberto Bautista Agut, the Spaniard? It's his first ever Grand Slam semi-final. He's 31 years of age. I don't know if you heard this, but he had to postpone his stag do. It was supposed to be this weekend, so he had booked his stag do for this weekend, thinking, I'm not going to go anywhere near the end of this Wimbledon.
Hang on a minute, that's fine for him. What about all his mates who pay for those flights to Prague?
They're flying over to Wimbledon today.
Brilliant.
So that match is first on centre court. Djokovic, Bautista go at 1 o'clock on centre court. So there's going to be a handful of Larry lads told to be quiet for the whole match.
It's just them and Nick Kyrgios in the pub, drinking away their sorrows.
Inflatable sheep and blow-up dolls, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But Nadal Federer is on after that. Hopefully it'll be as late as possible. Hopefully Djokovic and Bautista will go as late as possible. Batista is going to beat them twice this year in a row in Doha and Miami. It's not beyond the realms of possibility, although you have to fancy Djokovic.
They're both worth watching. And then Serena Halep.
Serena Halep is tomorrow. That's the final, 2 p.m. centre court. They've played each other 10 times before, Serena Halep. Serena's won 9 of them. But Halep's won one in Singapore, and apparently that still very much hurts Serena. Having said that, Serena hasn't won a Grand Slam for 2.5 years, the Australian Open 2017. Halep has won a Grand Slam more recently, the 2018 French Open. Halep's former world number one. She's been to 4 Grand Slam finals in total, and the most recent is the one that she won. She's playing brilliantly this year, but you have to say Serena's going to win her 24th Grand Slam.
I think. Should be
I think 3-setter too.
Yeah,
I think 3-setter, but I think Serena's going to win her 8th Wimbledon title tomorrow. And I agree with you, 3-setter.
Yeah.
As for the men's, if you want a prediction, which I presume you do, is Djokovic to beat Nadal in 4
I'd go with that.
sets on Sunday.
Colm Boohig, thanks a million for popping in. It should be a great weekend. We'll take a quick break.